Hello, I'm Pam Carruthers of HealingStars.com. This is the chart. It's the full moon, 28th of Jan 2021. Set for London, it's 1916. So we hopefully will see this moon if it's a clear night. Now this is the moon in Leo. Here it is on the left here. And I use whole signs to represent the houses to hopefully make it clearer for you, especially if you're not an astrologer professionally. So here it is, moon in Leo. Leo is the heart. Leo is the lion. Leo is joyful and playful and celebrates life with the enthusiasm of the child. And it's right opposite, as all full moons are, the sun in Aquarius. Here it is over here. Now, we are now building towards a huge 6 planets in Aquarius at the new moon, which will be on February the 11th. So we're getting a little taste of this. Meanwhile, let's investigate. We have Mars and Uranus together in Taurus. Mars has passed by Uranus. It was exact on the day of the inauguration of President Joe Biden. And me, like I think a lot of other people, were holding our breath that day. Anyhow, it went out, I believe, it went off brilliantly. There was a touch of genius, which is what Uranus does represent, in that gorgeous field, the flags that were planted to represent people who died of COVID. And the wind apparently was, they were fluttering and they were lit up at night like a field of gold. It was stunning. It was extraordinary. And of course, the feminine energy was very, very strong. And I loved seeing all these beautiful women wearing different colours. It truly was a celebration of the feminine energy. And of course, the star, that young girl with her beautiful poem. So to me, that was a really good combination of Mars and Uranus there. And I didn't see it, but apparently the fireworks were spectacular. That's another Mars-Uranus symbols. So that is waning, i.e. Mars is moving away from that conjunction, but it's still very, very close. And that is volatile. And of course, at the moon, and the full moon, the moon is at a right angle to that energy. We also have over here, we have got Jupiter and the sun side by side. Now that only happens one day a year, so that is quite an unusual signature for this full moon. And we also have got Venus and Pluto side by side. Again, that only happens one day a year, unless, of course, Venus is retrograde. So let's have a look. Jupiter, the law in Aquarius, to do with humanity. Fairness is humanity, is Aquarius. And it is very close still to Saturn, that conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which sets a whole new chapter of 20 years. So that's only just occurred. I don't have any planets in Aquarius. However, if you do, notice Mercury, 26 Aquarius, and it goes retrograde on the 1st of Feb, and it stays there 3 weeks in February, and we are in the shadow, what we call the shadow at the moment. And so it's building up to that new moon. Mercury will be very, very important. When Mercury goes retrograde, what's important is, if you can avoid it, not to sign a contract. It's not a good time to change broadband. It's not a good time to buy a new mobile phone. These things can go wrong. So if you haven't heard from someone and you had an appointment with them, double check that they've received your email. These are typical things that can go wrong with Aquarius. And the other energy, of course, Venus and Pluto. When I see Venus with Pluto, Pluto is the god of the underworld, of the unconscious. And Venus in the underworld is the story of Persephone. if you know that story. It's a very important myth. Astrology connects to mythologies, and Persephone is seized by Pluto, god of the underworld, taken to his realm, and she disappears. Her mother, Demeter, or Ceres, searches everywhere and leaves her temple. So the gods are getting rather worried. They need humans. They need people to worship them. And she is the goddess. So of fertility, you think of cereal. So they decide that it's a good idea to bring Persephone back, which is what happens. However, because she's eaten of the pomegranate, which actually means that she's had sex, it means she has to return. So she's returned, and this is a symbol saying there's Venus in the unconscious, in the underworld. Now, Venus will be changing sign into Aquarius, so that's a good, very good thing, and that's going to happen on the 1st of February. February is a very important month this year because, as I said, of the huge number of planets lining up in Aquarius. And we get in bulk, which is a festival. The actual astrology date is the 3rd of February. And that's when the sun is at the midpoint, but in Aquarius at 15 degrees. Venus will join Saturn on the 6th. It will square Uranus on the 7th. And then on the 8th, we get Sun and Mercury retrograde conjunct. That's a lot of energy to be happening in the first week of February. And then, of course, Mars, because it's retrograde, will then start activating Uranus retrograde. What am I talking about? Mercury retrograde will activate Mars. I won't go on because that takes me up to the new moon. But I want everyone to focus on the heart. The heart is where we love, where we have joy. In the Osho Zen Tarot, it's the Queen of Fire, the Leo energy. And the concept is sharing. And your whole life becomes a sharing of love, the abundance of love, and the joy. And this is a very creative sign, is Leo. And I would like you to feel that energy of like, is there something you are waiting to give birth to? It could be obviously a child. It could be a new project. But everything around you, and this is I'm quoting, everything around you seems to be coming together now. Enjoy it. Ground yourself in it. And let the abundance in you and around you overflow. I am planning ahead to launch a course. And that course will, the best time for me, because I'm an astrologer, of course, will be when we reach the spring equinox. And that's when planets, Pisces energy is building, Venus will be in Pisces. All of these things are a softening of energy. Meanwhile, we need to stay calm, be patient, be aware of being irritated by that Mars-Uranus. It's a good idea. With Pluto, I've mentioned before, spring cleaning is a good time to do that. And whatever you don't love anymore, Venus is about love, what you love, you let it go. Not an easy process, but a very essential one. And notice we still have Neptune, finally, at a right angle to the nose of the moon. This is an ongoing combination. And Neptune being in Pisces is really sensitive. I think that's all I need to say at the moment. But my message really is to focus on the moon, focus on Leo, focus on the Jupiter energy with the sun, focus on Venus and Pluto. These are powerful combinations of archetypes. I wish you well. Thank you for watching. Pam Carruthers, healingstars.com. And if you're not already on my newsletter list, by the way, I offer a free download of all the new moons, full moons for the year, and another one for Mercury retrograde with some very valuable information. So you can sign up on my website, healingstars.com.